You know what, I've watched quite a few short shifter videos in the past on the Fiesta Mark 7 ST, and none of the videos I've ever watched have satisfied the curiosity of something that I want to know when they've done their fitting videos. So in this video we're going to fit this Pumaspeed short shifter, and hopefully I'm going to show you something in this video that will satisfy my curiosity and hopefully yours too. So welcome to part 10 on the Fiesta ST rebuild and modification series. So what am I going to do that's different in this video then to all the other short shifting videos? Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to break out a measuring tape, because I watch a lot of the short shifting videos and then people drive and they'll go through the gears and they'll say that feels great, which is understandable. There's not a lot that you can convey to the viewer of how much better that it feels. So I thought, what I always watch the videos and I think, well, how much shorter is it? They say 15%, 20%, but what's that mean in actual numbers? So what we're going to do, I'm going to pick a point on the dash here, a point on the stick. I'm going to measure the, should we call it third? We'll do third to fourth. So I'll measure the distance forward, distance back standard, and then I'll do it on the 15% setting and the 25% setting. So that's what we're going to do. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take some standard measurements and then we get the short shifter fitted. Right, so I've decided to measure first to second. It's a little bit easier. So we're going to go from this point, the dash here as a reference, and we're going to go at the front line of the top of the stick here. So in first gear, our measurement is 126 millimeters, or more or less 5 inches. So 126 millimeter. Right, so now we're going to go back to second and measure to the same point, and we have 240 millimeters, or close, near as damn it, 9.5 inches. Right, so now we're going to get under the bonnet and we're going to stick the short shifter on and see how it feels. Right, so as I said, the short shifter's got two settings. It's got 15% and 25%. So depending on where you screw this ball, gives you the difference in the ratio that it alters the shift. Now that's going to be fitted deep down there on top of the gearbox. So to get that, we've got to take our pipe off, induction kit off. Obviously we'll be pulling off the cover as well. So let's get cracking and strip these down and we can get it on. Right, so first thing, get your cover off. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect the MAF, this pipe, disconnect hose there, and I'll take the whole lot off. You probably may have the airbox or something. I think this half strip is a little bit easier, so I'll just disconnect there, pull the whole lot off. So with that out of the way, this is where your short shifter is going to fit, and that there is your gear selector cable. So we're going to pop that off, and then the short shifter will fit in between the cable and the selector fork, or whatever it's called. So I'm going to pop that off now. There you are, just pop him up with a screwdriver and just move it just out of the way. Let's change gear, let's pull that forward, make it a bit easier to get at, don't it? Right, so it's at this point in the editing now I realise that a bit of a chunk of what I filmed out on the car wasn't actually filmed, so I'm going to show you a spare shifter that I have here, spare short shifter. Now what I did explain that is missing is you split it in two halves and you've got your bolts to go through. The one you have will only have 2 bolts along there, it won't have the 3, but when you fit it I suggest you use some Loctite and some Loctite on the ball fit in as well. So when it goes in, which you'll just see in a second, it goes in under the arm that piece, and obviously that goes into that piece there has got a hole. That's where your standard nipple will pop onto, and I'll go over and clamp on top, so it'll be facing that direction back towards the front window of the car. So right, I'll continue the video now and you can see it being done. Right, so with that bolted up, the advice I would give is rather than just crank one up all the way, work your way around closing up the tension, because what you will find is the two parts won't close tight together, so you don't want to be tightening one side down more than the other and it'll be uneven. So work your way around, adjusting the pressure as you go, as you fully tighten up. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put the ball in, I'm going to put it into this one here, which is the 15%, and then we're going to take some measurements from that. I'm not going to put any thread lock on it until I've decided where I'm going to keep it. Right, so then it's just a case we push it forward and get the gear selector and then just press him on top of the ball. Right, so there we have it. The fit-in is as simple as that. It is a little bit of a fiddly starting the bolts off, but it's not too difficult, to be honest with you. So that's on the 15%. We're going to jump in the car now and take some measurements. Right, let's take some measurements, see how this is performing. So if we go back right to where we were, so in first gear we now have 129 millimeters, so a tad over 5 inches. If we put it into second gear, let's have a look what we have there. So we have 224 millimeters, just under 9 inches. 224 millimeters. Okay, so can you see that? So looking at the numbers now, you can see 15%, we have 129 mil, 224. When standard it was 126, so it's 3 mil less throw forward. And then into second gear we've gone from 240 to 224, so we've got 20, 40, 16 millimeters, so 16 millimeters different there, so it's a small improvement. Right, so I just got my calculator out, and the distance travelled on standard is 114 millimeters, and the distance travelled at 15% is 95 millimeters. So you tell me if that's 15%. I guess yeah, it is, isn't it? Clever maths. Right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to swap that nipple to the 25%. I don't need to show you that, it's straightforward. What I want to tell you is stay tuned to the end, because I'm going to show you how you can save £7, roughly £7 on this short shifter, so stick around till the end. Right, so to tighten this up now, I think I'm going to stick with the 25%. If I don't like it, I'll swap back, but I put some thread lock on it. Get yourself a long reach socket, put them down, and it's 11 millimeter, and then just crank him up. Just remember, not too tight because you are going into alloy. There you are, that should do him. Alright, so let's go and see what 25% does after I pop the selector back on. Okay, so that's now with the 25%, so let's see what measurements this gives us. So we have 100, get it right, 131 millimeters, or 5 1/4 inches. So now right back to second, and we have 216 millimeters. Right, okay, so these are all the numbers then. So as I said, with 25% we went 131 mil, 216, so that give us a total throw of 85mm. Now if you do the maths, they work out exactly as they should really. It is 15%, it is 25%, but I still find it interesting to see it in actual numbers. So your total throw has gone from 114mm on the and then down on the 25%. You're only throwing total distance of 85mm, and it does feel like the distance going from the neutral position to the second gear feels like it's a little bit shorter than to first, but I measured it and they're pretty much equal. But the feel is, I mean, to be honest, what I found is, I haven't driven it because too many people, well, not too many people, but everybody does the driving bit, so this is why I want to do something different. I find the 25% is a little bit better in the feel due to the fact when it was on 15%, as I was going back to second gear, first gear was fine, I was going back to second, fourth or sixth, because of the weight on that shaft and the way it was set up, it felt like it was going boing, and it was giving it a little bit of an unnatural feeling, like really making it clunk. Whereas now on the 25%, that feels natural, it feels proper, just shorter. So my recommendation is the 25%, but I am going to drive it, and if I don't like it on 25%, then I'll just swap to the 15s. It's a couple of minutes job, it's hardly difficult. So right, now we come into the end of this video. I want to tell you how you can get a short shifter for free delivery. I think delivery is something like £6.95 when I last looked, something like that. So the shifter is £52 on Pumaspeed, say with a £6.95 delivery. Apologies if I got that wrong. But if you enter the Team SPS code into the search bar at Pumaspeed, as I showed you in previous videos, then you'll find this short shifter in the discount section. So you'll still pay £52, but you'll get the free delivery. And when you go on the page, you'll also notice the stage 1R map has been added to it as well. So that is now £20 off. It's come down from £370 to £349 using the code. So hopefully you will enjoy the discounts. More are going to come. The more parts I fit to the car and the more we have discussions with Pumaspeed in the future, more things will be added. So please stay tuned for that. And also, if you know anyone looking for these parts and you're on the Facebook groups, please share the code around. Let's spread it, because the more people use it, the more we're going to get more discounts in the future. It's going to benefit me getting discounted parts, and it'll benefit you getting discounted parts. So please spread it around. Please use them as much as you can if we need to buy the parts. Right, so I think that brings an end to this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed another episode, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.